7 months after signing the divorce papers, 7 months after packing his life into cardboard boxes and telling his 6-year-old daughter that mommy and daddy would live in different homes, 7 months after learning how to cook, clean, braid hair, and cry quietly in the shower so his child wouldn't hear him, Daniel saw his ex-wife standing near the entrance of the supermarket. And she was pregnant. Not just slightly. Not a maybe. Not a misunderstanding. Pregnant. Round belly. Protective hand resting on it. A slow, careful walk. The world didn't spin or crash or explode the way movies promised heartbreak would feel. Instead, everything went painfully still, like the air had thickened into glass. His lungs forgot how to work. His fingers trembled around the plastic handles cutting into his skin. For a second, he thought he might faint right there between the shopping carts and the faded yellow lines. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what it means to be human, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps these stories reach more hearts. Daniel hadn't expected to see her again so soon. After the divorce, they kept everything clinical and quiet. Custody schedules, school drop-offs, text messages about their daughter Emma's fever or homework. No emotions, no past, just logistics. Like two strangers coordinating a package delivery instead of a child they once dreamed about together. But seeing her like this felt like someone had reopened a wound that never fully healed. He remembered the last fight they had, the one that finally broke them. The unpaid bills stacked like accusations on the kitchen table. His late shifts at the warehouse. Her exhaustion. Their words had turned sharp, careless, cruel. Love had slowly starved under stress neither of them knew how to carry. He had told himself she would move on. He just hadn't prepared for how much it would hurt to see proof. He bent down to gather the runaway oranges, his hands shaking. The asphalt felt too hot, the sun too bright. He didn't want her to see him like this, messy, stunned, still fragile. But fate didn't care about pride. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither of them moved. There was no anger in her face. No guilt either. Just surprise. And something else. Something tired. She gave him a small nod, the kind strangers give each other. That hurt more than anything. Because once, that nod used to mean everything. Once, she had been home. The drive back to his tiny rental apartment felt longer than usual. Emma was humming in the back seat, kicking her sneakers against the seat rhythmically, talking about a drawing she made in school. Daniel tried to listen, really tried, but his mind kept replaying the image of that round belly like a cruel slideshow. He hated himself for feeling jealous. He hated himself even more for still loving her. Single fatherhood had not been graceful or heroic the way social media made it seem. It was messy and exhausting. Burnt toast mornings, laundry at midnight, falling asleep on the couch while cartoons played, missing parent-teacher meetings because overtime shifts couldn't be skipped. He learned to stretch every dollar, to smile when he wanted to collapse, to become both parents at once. Some nights, after Emma slept, he would sit at the kitchen table staring at the divorce papers like they were written in another language, wondering how two people who once painted a nursery together could end up like this. He told himself this was life. People break. Love fades. You survive. But that afternoon, survival suddenly felt heavier. Days passed, yet the image followed him everywhere. At work. At home. In his dreams. Then one rainy Thursday evening, fate stepped in. Again. Emma had left her favorite jacket at her mother's place the previous weekend. The weather turned cold, and she cried about it before bed. Daniel promised to pick it up after his shift. He parked outside the small duplex where his ex-wife lived now. The porch light flickered weakly. Rain slid down the windows like tears. He hadn't been here since the divorce. The house looked smaller, lonelier. He knocked, expecting awkwardness, maybe distance. Instead, when the door opened, what he saw shocked him. She looked thinner, paler, dark circles under her eyes. The pregnancy that seemed bright and full in the parking lot now looked heavy, burdensome, like something she was carrying alone. The house behind her was quiet. Too quiet. No laughter. No new partner. No signs of another life. Just silence. He stepped inside briefly to grab Emma's jacket. The living room looked half empty. Old furniture. Medical bills on the table. Prenatal vitamins near the sink. Something didn't add up. And then he noticed it. There were no men's shoes by the door. No second toothbrush. No extra coat. She wasn't moving on with someone else. She was alone. The truth slowly revealed itself over the next few weeks through small details he couldn't ignore. Missed pickups. Tired texts. One day Emma mentioned that mommy slept a lot and sometimes cried in the bathroom. Daniel's chest tightened. He remembered those cries. He used to hear them years ago when money was tight and life felt impossible. Some habits of pain never change. Eventually, he learned from a mutual friend that the pregnancy hadn't been planned. The man involved had left as soon as he found out. No support, no calls, nothing, just abandonment. The news hit Daniel harder than the original shock. Suddenly, the jealousy felt ugly. Selfish, because she wasn't glowing with a new life. She was drowning, and he had been standing on the shore, assuming she was swimming away happily. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, listening to Emma's soft breathing from the next room. He thought about the years they shared. The mistakes, the pride, the things they said that couldn't be taken back. They had failed each other. But did that mean he had to fail her too? By morning, he had made a decision that scared him more than the divorce ever did. He started small, dropping off groceries anonymously, fixing her broken porch light, sending extra money, for Emma, even though he knew it would help both of them. Then one evening, he did something bigger. He cooked a full meal and brought it over. She opened the door looking confused, eyes red from exhaustion. He didn't explain much. He just placed the containers on the table and started cleaning the dishes in the sink like he used to years ago. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was familiar, human. Two broken people quietly choosing kindness. Weeks turned into months. Doctor appointments he offered to drive her to. Emma helping paint a tiny nursery corner. Daniel assembling a second-hand crib late at night. Neighbors started whispering. Friends questioned him. Some said he was foolish. Others said he was weak. But Daniel knew something they didn't. Love doesn't always look like romance. Sometimes it looks like responsibility. Sometimes it looks like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like showing up even when you don't owe anything. The day the baby arrived, the hospital room was filled with tension and fear. She squeezed his hand so hard his knuckles turned white. There were no dramatic speeches. No grand gestures. Just tears. Raw, unstoppable tears. When the nurse finally placed the tiny crying newborn into her arms, Daniel felt something break open inside his chest. Not jealousy. Not regret. Just overwhelming compassion. A child didn't choose how they entered this world. But someone could choose to be there. So he did. He signed papers to help. Stayed overnight. Rocked the baby so she could sleep. Learned how to hold another tiny life against his shoulder. And somewhere between the midnight feedings and soft lullabies, the past stopped hurting so much. Because this wasn't about what they used to be. It was about who they were becoming.